guys, thanks for joining me for a few minutes today. I just wanted to take a little bit of your time and talk about something that comes up quite often in working in women's health and fertility. And this is something that I think every woman and every girl, every teenage girl should be empowered with this type of knowledge early on in their life. And sadly, what I'm finding is that most women, even women that I talk to in their 30s and 40s, still don't quite understand how their menstrual cycle works and what's going on at what time of the cycle and why they're having these drastic shifts up and down and these hormonal changes up and down. So I've developed a little guide that makes understanding kind of the changes that we go through during life and during day-to-day timing in the month a little bit easier to understand. And I put it in a little guidebook, and it's called Grasping the Moon. And that's going to be available on my website that I'll share with you guys soon. But I just wanted to kind of go through the basics of this information with you here just to give kind of a baseline introduction. So when we're talking about the menstrual cycle, we look at it as a transition from a very yin energy to a very yang energy. And in the first part of our cycle, the energy starts out as yin. And during that time between the day one of your cycle up until ovulation, so the day one that bleeding starts until ovulation, your body is slowly and slowly and slowly getting more yin. Yin, as we understand it, as it applies to Chinese medicine theory and to really any Eastern theory, is the very feminine part of energy. It's the cold or shady side of the hill. It's a very cooling energy. It's very slow moving. It doesn't have a lot of activity to it. So this part of your cycle from day one of bleeding until ovulation is a time that we should be really focused on nourishing that feminine energy. What's happening is your body is cooling down as the follicles are starting to develop and get ready and prepare for ovulation. So if we're doing a lot of really young, hot activities during this time, it can actually disrupt that development, that follicular development that's going to turn into an egg that's ovulated. So if you're looking at trying to get pregnant, you really want to learn how to partner with these energies and work synergistically with the energies. So when we get to the point of ovulation, your body has reached the very maximum amount of yin that it can get to. It's important to understand here that our body is always in balance. There's always part yin and part yang. We're never all of one or all of the other. But what's happening here is we're getting to the very max capacity of yin. So the body has become almost all completely yin. And what happens at that exact moment of ovulation is that the yang energy, which is hot, it's a hot, active energy, it's going to reach up. So it very quickly kind of reaches up and it starts getting to its max point. So as the yang energy reaches up and the yin energy then will come down to make way. So they work tandemly together. Yin energy is coming down, yang energy is going up, and that's what triggers the release of that egg at ovulation. So what happens when people are trying to conceive and they're getting to a point where they're having an anovulatory cycle, that egg is never ovulated, or they're getting a positive on a high fertility, high peak fertility on a over-the-counter ovulation predictor test, but then they're not ovulating, or that egg it just takes too long for it to release, so that egg is no longer viable. That switch from yin to yang is not happening. So either the yin is not getting strong enough to get to the point where we can make that switch over to yang, or the yang isn't hot enough and active enough to reach up and tip the yin over so that the egg can be released. So an acupuncturist, somebody like myself, doctor of traditional Chinese medicine or acupuncture, or an acupuncturist practitioner, can help you figure out if there's a relative deficiency in yin, if there's a relative deficiency in yang, or if there's some kind of a stagnation in your body that's just preventing that switch over to happen. Okay? Once we identify that, we can coax your body into moving into those right energies and being more balanced. We can nourish the yin, we can nourish the yang, and we can help that transition happen the way that it should. Now, this is important to understand even for girls that are very young who are not trying to get pregnant by any means. But it's important for them to understand their body. And I see this a lot of times with like athletes, especially high school athletes, college athletes that are extremely competitive. Their body fat percentage is pretty low, and they get into this point where they're having anovulatory cycles and then they stop having a period because their body has become so young that the yin energy can't do what it needs to do, and there's just no chance that they're going to have a period or that they're going to ovulate. So that's important because later on in life, if they do decide they want a family, we need to be able to trace back and figure out what happened, to try to get everything to go back into balance if they've never gotten help. But if they understand what's happening and they have a better understanding of their cycles early on, we can work with them even when fertility is not anywhere near what they're working towards. It can help them better balance their cycle so they can still be athletic, they can still be competitors, but we can teach them how to nourish that yin during that first part of their cycle and how to subdue the yang a little bit, so that they have a more natural ebb and flow to their cycle. So, this information I think is really empowering, and it's really important to get in the hands of women in your life and young girls if you have girls, or your daughters, even your moms moving into menopause. There's a lot of things that happen as we're moving into menopause, but still we're dealing with the principles of the transition of yin over into yang. And as we get older, that relative deficiency of yin that happens is ultimately what causes menopause to occur. So, this is obviously a pretty complicated topic, and I just wanted to give you the overview. I hope I didn't lose you in the confusion of just trying to explain how these energies interplay with each other. But if you're interested in this type of information and it's something that you want to keep learning about, or it's something that you want to pass on, shoot me an IM, reach out, post questions here, and I'll keep you guys updated as I get my website up and running, and my YouTube channel, so that we can talk a little bit more about these things, and get a little bit more detailed in our videos, okay? So thanks for spending some time with me today, and we'll see you with another video soon. Bye-bye.